about fears. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I got fears, but I ain't got no love.
Those black boots that they found in that bathroom, those were the boots that she wore all the time, like sneakers to her. You know, that's what we wore back then. The only time I ever saw Brenda in a pair of sneakers was if we had to do a cleaning job where it required us to be, you know, on a ladder or something. I can't imagine her tending bar in sneakers. So if those boots come off, they either come off to put on a different pair of boots, like she was, you know, if she was going somewhere, or those were her work boots and she put on dress boots to hang out or something. But to me, that really isn't that unusual. I think she probably went in there to change. Now, I can't remember the layout of the bar, if the men's room was closer to, you know, like it had changed too after years, you know, I don't remember, but I'm thinking she probably went in there to change when she was done working.
Just change into like sneakers or something? Or another pair of boots? Okay. Okay. It's good to know.
There was one thing that happened. They said they found blood on a paper towel in the bathroom. I can remember the police told us that. And I think it was in one of the papers.
Okay.
They even put it in one of the newspapers that they found a, you know, napkin with blood on it, but then it wasn't her blood. Well, then whose blood was it? You know, that was my question. Just so many things about, I mean, you know, we just wanted answers back then. And the police, they didn't tell us everything. You know, they were being, almost like they were being cautious. And let me tell you, Iris was a force, you know. She pushed and pushed and pushed the police. She was on them all the time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, I guess,
as far as details like that, she would be the one to speak to about that.
Well, I guess Iris kind of raised her, right? So it was like a mom and daughter relationship, even though, what was it, 15-year difference or something?
Yeah, it was also a love-hate relationship, too.
Yeah.
You know, because their age, you know.
Sure.
They were sisters, and, you know, they got along, but there were a lot of times that Brenda would just would get so disgusted with Iris, you know. They were back and forth, but, you know, at the time, whenever this all happened, actually her and her sister were getting along well.
Mm-hmm.
And
you had said that, and again, this is another question that I hate to ask, but I need truth. You described her as flirty. Now, would you go as far as saying she was promiscuous? Would, you know, she have one night stands? Would she go from guy to guy, or was she not like that?
She had a lot of people that suspected that she was, you know, oh, well, she's sleeping with her boss, and she wouldn't be. But she did have a lot of men. I'm not going to say she didn't. But she wasn't one to do things, you know, publicly because of Tom, you know. Like, I can remember, you know, her being connected with a couple people in Clearfield that had money, but she would never, she would have never admitted to it. She just would have a relationship with them, but then, after a while, she didn't want anything to do with them.
Would she be the type of person that, at the end of her bar shift or whatever, go and hang out with a customer? If a customer said, hey, come out in my car, whatever, like that?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. Now, this is big for victimology here and trying to determine what happened to Brenda that night. Remember, no one's found her jacket, no one's found her purse, and the bar was left unlocked, something she should have done if she was leaving the bar. So, is it possible because of the drug issues, did somebody offer her drugs? Come out in my car. Something like that, where she had to put her coat on and maybe take her purse. I'm not there yet on any theories, but it's good to know that Brenda would be somebody that would potentially go out and do that. So we'll have to see how it plays out, but it was good to know.
We did stupid things like that.
Well, I'm trying to make sense of her. No one ever mentions her coat. It was February 26th. It was cold out, and her coat was never found. So, you can assume.
She always carried a purse.
Yeah. So she had a coat on. She had a purse.
Yeah, I think there was a purse in her trunk at the time. But that didn't mean that was the purse that she was carrying at the time, because a lot of times, maybe you'd take a purse with all your stuff in, but when you went into work, you just took a smaller purse. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Kind of weird, but, I thought, well, when they found her boots, where was her purse?
Right.
Why wasn't there a purse in the bar? Because somebody just took her.
What was your understanding, or if anything, about the money situation at the bar, the cash register? Did you hear anything about that?
I just remember them saying that she tallied out her money.
Okay.
And, like she was closing the bar, and nothing was stolen. That's really all I remember. What are they saying that happened?
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Well, I did talk to Carl, and Carl seems to remember that at the end of the night, when she was supposed to close, the cash register drawer is supposed to be tallied and then laid in his office, and he remembers it not being there. So I'm just trying to understand how far in the closing process did she get before something happened. And that's all.
Yes. See, those were particulars that I don't remember.
Okay. So then, now through the years, it's been 33 years now. What's your take on it, and what do you think happened?
I definitely think it had to do something with Carl and Greg. I think that Brenda probably knew something that she wasn't supposed to know. And they, decided she didn't need to be there anymore.
Okay.
I always, in the back of my mind, for a long time, I thought maybe she was under witness protection because they were investigating Greg and Carl or something.
Now, I can obviously speak to this. I've worked hand in hand and for the Bureau of Narcotics Investigation, the AG's office, certainly the FBI. There was no way that Brenda's in the witness protection program. I can just dispel that rumor right here, right now. That's not how it works. So let's go on with Bonnie.
But then never no arrest, never no,
Right.
anything like that. And like I said, after I found out what kind of people they were, I didn't poke the bear. I didn't, contact him or try to, find out more about their personal relationship, because from friends of mine that knew of them, they told me, stay away. You don't want to get involved in that. If that's what happened to her, you don't want to be in the middle of it.
Okay.
But I always hope too that, she saw something was going down and she decided, I got to get out of here. But in that case, she'd have taken her car. Like, I can't imagine, But I guess, if you were being threatened and somebody threatened your kids, and you had a choice to either stay there in the middle of it or get out, that's the only way I think that she would have ever left her children.
I know you're not going to be very good with details since it's been so long, but what was your take on the timeline? What is your knowledge of that as to being the last people that she was seeing in the bar? At 1:00 in the morning, that she was talking to 3 people, 1 person. What was your take? What did the police tell you about that? Anything?
No, and from there, they were so sketchy about who was there and how many were there, and then they come up with them composite drawings and everything. And I said, there was the first composite drawing, it looked like an older gentleman. I said, well, that could be Greg.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been sitting there all night with her. We don't know. And I couldn't imagine of anybody from Clearfield or anybody that I knew that maybe would have went there and hung out with her while she was working. Like I said, she wanted me to take a job with her. So maybe she had a male friend that she said, hey, why don't you come hang out with me tonight? I gotta work in here by myself.
Right.
That wouldn't have been unusual for her to do.
And that was only her 3rd night working there, is that correct?
Second or third.
Second or third. Okay.
Yeah, because when we went down 3 weeks before that, she had never even been behind the bar.
Okay. Well, that's all that I can think of off the top of my head, Bonnie. I appreciate you talking to me. Is there any questions you have for me?
Well, you piqued my interest when you said there was some new details.
Yeah, and I'm trying.
You were investigating, and I understand. I don't want to compromise anything.
No.
All these years to hear anything would be something.
I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'll put it that way. I've been I spoke to Carl, which was a miracle in itself, because he obviously, I guess, doesn't speak to people about this case. But I had a mutual friend reach out to him, so I was able to talk to him and record the interview. Yeah, so a lot of interesting stuff here, and I'm still in the beginning stages of some of this, but it's good to talk to somebody like you that really knew her, and it gives me a lot of good insight, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, she wasn't a thief. She didn't go after people to just use them for whatever, She was the type of person, if she would have asked Greg for money to do, for her business or something, it'd have been paid back.
Right.
Somehow she'd have been able to pay it back,
Well,
and it wasn't, so she wasn't a gold digger. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to make that point about her, because she didn't do things that way.
Right.
She wanted to earn for herself. She didn't want to have to depend on anybody.
How was she? And this might sound like an odd question, but how was she with her sleep? Like, let's just say she got off at 2 o'clock in the morning, and let's say she had to be back at 6 in the morning. Would that bother her at all to go home and just get 3 hours of sleep?
No, if she could sleep for a couple hours, she's fine. She'd just keep going, and maybe that's where the drugs come in, that I never thought that.
And Bonnie knows exactly where I was going with that question. Did somebody lure her out into a vehicle with the promise of maybe doing some cocaine because she had to be back in a couple hours? And her thought process may have been, well, why even go to sleep? I'll just stay up. That is why I'm asking this question about her sleep. Could she have just gone on with 3 hours of sleep or not?
Maybe she was doing drugs to do that, but I never saw it.
Okay.
I never got that inclination from her,
Well, and that's one of the, kind of theories that I was kind of looking at, trying to make sense of why she would have her jacket on, why she would have her purse with her, but yet the bar was unlocked. So it's almost like maybe she went outside into a car with somebody, and maybe it was to do a line of coke because she had to get up in a couple hours.
Why wouldn't she have just done it in a bar?
That's very true. Sure.
Unless
the guy
she thought there were cameras in the bar, or somebody, was watching her in the bar, and she thought, I'll just slip out for a minute and come back in. But that's still.
But what if it wasn't her cocaine? It was the guy, and his whole purpose was to kill her.
Was to get her in the car and take off with her or whatever. Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of mysteries here, but hopefully we can get some sort of answers as we go forward here.
Well, another thing they didn't do, this just came to my mind too. There were 2 big dumpsters sitting at the bar at the time. They never checked those dumpsters.
Yeah.
For anything.
Where were those dumpsters? In front or back?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I don't know.
You don't know whether there was a back door to that place or not? I'm sure there has to be for codes, but
I really, like I said, the layout of that bar was not something that I knew.
Yeah.
And I think I went back there one time afterwards, and it was already closed.
Well, I'm going there on Saturday to get the manager's giving me a tour without the other customers in there, but I know it's changed so much, but I just need to find out how much it's changed so I can get a good feel of the place. I used to go there after it was Spectators, after it was Carlsbad Tavern, and I remember vividly going into the men's bathroom. This is way before I became a cop. I was in the Marine Corps, and I think I was home on leave or something. But I remember going in that bathroom and looking down at the floor saying, this is where Brenda's boots were.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's crazy.
I don't even think that I ever went in the bar, because maybe Iris and I did go in there one time. That's, like I said, so long ago, kind of a blur. And it was a very emotional time, too.
Well, I'm sure about that. And I'm sorry that this has happened to your friend. So, I mean, that's first and foremost. The rest of all this is secondary to, thoughts and prayers for you and her family. So, with that said, I think I'm done. One thing that I will ask you, if you can, if there's any way possible that I could get a copy of any of your notes that you have that you took maybe within that first 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I don't need to see, but if you have something written down, I'd love to see it.
Well, I dug around here. That's why I kind of stalled it getting back to you. Like I had some paperwork like right here in my house, and then I was like, I know I have another box of stuff. because I saved everything, all the papers and everything. But I haven't really got to go through it all. So if I find anything.
Yeah, just take a picture of it and send it to me if you could do that.
Okay.
That would be great, because in that first 2 weeks, I mean, those details are crucial. And if police are not letting certain things out, I get it, but there might be something in there that helps. And any pictures you have of you and her, or of her, I'd like to see them as well.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing. I never had a lot of pictures. We didn't have cameras.
Right.
We didn't have phones.
Right.
We didn't have cell phones and stuff. So, pretty much the pictures that like I have a wedding picture of her, when she got married. But there were pictures that she had professionally taken, and I don't know. I can't remember the guy that did these pictures, and it was real close around that time. And it was like at a playground, and he took pictures of her on the swing and different things. And I think Iris has all of those.
Okay.
But was always very curious, like, who that person was. And like I said, I thought that he was associated with the ski lodge in State College. When we started kind of thinking out of the box, like not just Greg
right.
and all that, we tried to start thinking of people around that time that she was involved with.
Yeah.
And that was always somebody that I thought, that's kind of weird.
Well, Iris said that she had dated somebody from a ski lodge or something.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that same guy was the photographer?
Or they were friends.
Okay.
The two of them were friends.
Gotcha.
And like I said, they were just people that, she had mentioned, never really, were a big part of her life or anything.
Okay.
But still, it's people like that you think of too, because, maybe they were more interested. Maybe they were stalking her. Maybe they were,
Right. Well,
thinking,
a Tuesday night is an odd night, you know what I mean, for somebody
right.
to go missing.
Yeah.
There couldn't have been that many people in that bar on a Tuesday night with no live band
and
there.
The weather was bad, it was.
And that's another thing that I'm doubting Carl's story about a doorman, because why would you have a doorman on a Tuesday with no band there?
Right.
So, okay, well.
That kind of sounds like it was to cover his own, but
could be.
The fact that he had somebody in there by themselves.
Exactly. So, okay. Well, if you could snap pictures and send them to me at random whenever you want of those things, I would certainly appreciate it. And I'm going to be releasing this first episode tonight at 6:00. Not of me and you. Yours will be much, much later. This will probably end up being like a 20-episode event or something like that. But got to get it out there in the public. And I think I got 500,000 viewers that watch me a month. And the more it gets out there, hey, the better.
I still have people to this day, like I'll be back in Clearfield and they'll say, have you ever heard anything about Brenda?
It's a shame.
Because it's a, small town.
Yeah.
She was from a small town. Everybody knew her.
Yeah. Well, I hope to help you out a little bit somehow. So I appreciate you talking to me.
All right.
Okay, Bonnie. Hey, thank you so much. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to get a hold of me.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, there you have it. What did we learn? We learned a lot. Okay. A couple of things, still stick out to me, including, hey, she would go out into a car with somebody, let's say, maybe to do drugs. Now, Bonnie, I wouldn't say she downplayed this. She basically said, hey, it didn't happen around me, but she would do things like she would leave the bar in order to go out into a car with somebody. Remember what she talked about that weekend before at Carlsbad Tavern, that black car that pulled up and picked her up as they were getting ready to leave. That was a red flag to me. Okay, she went with 3 guys at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning when that bar closed, when they were leaving. That tells me she isn't afraid. Okay, it also tells me maybe she was a little bit naive. Now, the name Mario, she said it was Greg's brother. Could be. Haven't looked into that yet. I will. But I do recollect when Greg was arrested, wasn't his supplier's name Mario? I thought I read that in the paper, and I will research that, obviously. I feel bad for Bonnie. I could hear it in her voice. She misses her friend. You know? And it's a mystery. And people don't know what happened to Brenda. But I'm learning a lot about Brenda. So now I think it's time that we start diving into some suspects. And we have a plethora of them. But I think obviously at the top of the food chain would be this individual named Carl, Greg, and his associates. But we also must take into account somebody she didn't know, a random intruder, or somebody she did know that's not on our radar. So these next few episodes, I'm going to be, okay, we're done with victimology, okay? Hey, if something comes up, somebody contacts me, yes, I'll take that all in. But I have a good sense of who Brenda is. Very loyal, hardworking, flirty. That was important that Bonnie told me that. Not exactly promiscuous, but flirty. You have to be as a bartender, right? What? I've never met a bartender that wasn't flirty. So that is in her character. She wouldn't leave her kids. Very kid-oriented. Had some conflict with first husband, but they were amicable. You have to look at him. Yes, I will. As we go forward. But now you're going to see a change from victimology. We know that victim to, hey, okay, let's start looking at some people. You can call them suspects. You can call them persons of interest. You can call them just individuals. It's what they are. People that I have heard. And one of the ones that I really want to talk about, because I don't understand, is Crazy Carl. Everybody that I talk to wants to say that this guy had some sort of reputation of being shady, bad. I haven't delved into him quite yet. I have talked to him, okay? I don't get that from him. Very friendly. I can see why he has so many friends and why he was so successful in his businesses, his bars, and State College. So we got to push through the rumors and find out, hey, why is his name coming up? As Todd said, well, he was the bar owner. Well, that's just like me running a private investigative business, and I have a worker that works for me goes missing, and then people start pointing the finger at me because I was the owner. That doesn't make sense. There has to be something more. Just because you're a bar owner, you're a business owner, and one of your employees dies, gets killed, goes missing, the finger shouldn't point at you. But they are pointing at Carl for some reason. And because of that, not because he's a bar owner, but because of that, and because of some red flags that Iris had said, I have to look in that direction. he's not going to be the only one I'm looking at. So, that's it. Victimology. We learned a lot, and we're going to keep pushing through till we get to the bottom of this, hopefully, when, as always, thoughts and prayers to Brenda Condon, but her family and friends as well. So, until next episode, Mains out.